I don't know why it keeps turning off by itself. I don't know why. But I want to know how they watch all of these things here, where they got those things on the mountain with those big antennas. I mean, and all the way up there it goes. And all this property used to be owned by the government. So who owns it now? And why did they sell the people's property? Again, like I told you before in my other video, that this property belonged to us. How could they just sell it and then keep charging us more taxes? And everybody's homeless, and they don't have the homeless people out here living out here. These people all work out here and do this stuff are all Latino people. Not that I mind it, but they all have houses. They all have housing. I took videos of it. I'll show it to you. They have places to live. They stay in hotels or little bungalows or duplexes. They all have cars. They all have places to stay. And they all have jobs. And none of them speak English. And the homeless people are Americans. Mostly Americans. Latins too. A lot of Spanish speaking. Oop, here's the water. Chandula. I told you they're shipping the water in from somewhere else. I'm telling you. There's no water in California, so they're bringing this water in. Busted by Betty Buttcrack. There it is. Right there. The water is being brought in or sucked up from under the ground because it's not coming out of the sky. And they got all these pipes, thousands of them, all of this stuff all over here. All of these pipes and things you wouldn't see unless you were on Betty Buttcrack's channel. Katie Kidman, subscriber. That's why my subscribers know everything. I'm going to tell you a lot more about all of it. Stay tuned. Don't think that the research I'm doing on the preschools or the schools has ended, okay? I have 4 notebooks full of research and names of teachers and priests and school board members that were in charge of the school board. 127 names to be exact. And they've all been busted. Some of them have been transferred to Catalina, and some of them haven't been moved at all. And there are victims in these cases. And here's the guy planting these trees back here. Look. Or maybe they just pulled them up. Like I said, there's a lot of homeless people around, and they don't have these kinds of jobs out here, and they don't have any place to live, and I'm sure they would love to. And I think they need help, and I think various things should be offered to the American citizens before anybody else. But around here, looks like all the construction, all of this kind of thing, it's all being done by the Spanish-speaking community. Galvanized wire, I don't know, he's putting the irrigation in here to water these big trees. Nice trees, huh? And then you got all this right here, going up and down here. Probably going to plant this right here. And all up and down this area right here. Gonna put more stuff in here. We planted all that back there. Same thing that's over here on this side. On the other side over here, it's gonna be all this, and he's planting those trees over there. They have enough room right here to take a tractor down this side right here. Okay, then you go up here. And you got that ball up there on the mountain up there, and those towers. Please, somebody enlighten me. Look at all this. It goes on and on and on all the way down there. On, and all of it needs water. And all these tubes right here are just for that, water. All this. Right? This is for the water, so this is all irrigation. There's no water in California, but they need all this irrigation. Apparently they're planning on having water going through it somehow or another. And all of this. These are little work areas back here. And they got all this. This guy's working on the irrigation over here. Look at him, way down in there. Talking about my camera. Look at these guys. They're in there digging. They're in there digging in those holes, putting up all this irrigation. That's what they're doing down there. I go down there and talk to him, but I could hear him over there talking about the camera. Oh, see that dragonfly? The camera. She has a camera. Yeah, man. Coming out here to treat you right. Probably taking advantage of you, paying you very little. And they have you out here digging in the hot sun. Look at all these tractors. This is a brand new one. It's all greased up, and got a grease monkey over here. Check it out. Check it out, Maddox. Look at this grease, man. You use all that grease on your stuff? This thing's brand new, man. Look at it. Look at these tires. Gigantic. That thing's cool. Bet you like tractors like this. Very cool. Brand new. You could still smell the newness of it. This one back here. Here's the front. It's got lights and everything. Cool. Cool. Here's those things. Look at them all. Those things that they're putting up out there. Another tractor. Some supplies, some sort or another. Another tractor. Water containers over here. More of these pipes and tubes over here. I want to show you what's going on all around the country. Everything's connected, okay, guys? This is part of the auditing, and so are the schools. You know, I'm so glad that Accountability for All went and audited the school board, and they got tyrannical with them, and they were trying to get them out of there and threatening them and everything, but they stood their ground and stayed there, went through and audited the whole place, and did not get arrested like I did. And it needs to be done. Those people are corrupted. I have, like I said, 3 notebooks full of information about corrupted teachers, government officials, the preschools that want to open all these state-run preschools, and probably the people that work, I'm sure, for those people do not understand what's going on and what they're doing. But what they want to do is combine the preschools with Planned Parenthood, because the Planned Parenthood thing and the way to birth control and abortions and all that stuff is in their brochures. So they make that readily available to the women, especially of the Spanish-speaking community, and they make sure it's free, and they'll take care of it for you. Yeah, any of that Planned Parenthood stuff, giving your child up for adoption, having, terminating the pregnancy, any of that stuff, the Head Start and early Head Start programs, the state-run preschool programs are involved in that. They're directly connected to those programs, and you can go into their schools, into the administration offices of those schools, and find out where to have an abortion and what to do about any kind of drug problem or anything. I don't know if any of you guys have read up on any of the information regarding the school board, okay? That's why they don't want me over there, because your child can go have an abortion at the school without your knowledge. They'll never tell you. And the kid, it's in the rules. It's in their guidelines, their school books, and all that stuff. It's called the Child Protection Act or something like that. There's an actual act of the United States government giving the school board permission to go ahead and make sure that your 14-year-old daughter can go to school, or however old, can be younger than that, whatever old age it is the daughter is, and she could privately go have counseling with the teacher at the school, and they can give her pregnancy, birth control, parenting, all this kind of information. When you go to a police officer and you start talking to them about the law, they tell you, well, I don't know anything about the law. You got to go to court and talk to the judge, right? Okay, well, why can you? That's for inside there. No fishing or swimming. It's not for out here. There's no signs out here whatsoever. So shut up, Shauna. Anyway, you must be miserable. I'm sorry, but God. So anyways, the school board has it in their documentation that they can take your child, your underage female child, and take the child to have an abortion behind your back. I had no idea about this, okay? But this is true. So Roe versus Wade was turned over, and they're pissed off about all this because of this. It's a big deal. Because they are allowed to take your kid to have an abortion behind your back and never tell you about it. All right? You don't believe me? You better go look up the rules in the school board right away. You better go look them up. I'm telling you right now, they are allowed to do that. It's in their documentation. I read it. I have 3 notebooks full of information about predators, people that have ruined boys' lives, teachers and priests. Some of them are in prison, but they were working in Lompoc and over here in Santa Maria, so, La Purisma is one of them. And people don't believe me on my channel. You think I just go out there and start saying things and just making things up in my head? No, I read this stuff. I have this information from the school board. I wasn't breaking any laws when I went over there, okay? I was going over there to get a FOIA request and get some information and do some reporting, which is totally legal. And what they did was break the law because they're paranoid and they're raising our kids that way. And if you think they're doing a good job, think again. because the prison to school ratio in California, they're building more schools than, more prisons than schools. Check it out. That's a fact too. And the reason they don't want private preschools is because the private preschools are not connected in any manner, shape, or form to the government. These public preschools, like Head Start, and these preschools that they're putting inside the elementary schools, that way they're connected to the government, to the foster care system, to the adoption system, to the Planned Parenthood system, to all the government agencies that want to know who your kid is, who you are, if there's any possibility or any chance at all of them abusing you or your children and taking advantage of your ignorance, so they can, make notes and lists and, figure out who all everybody is. And, if they get you addicted on drugs and you have kids, then they can take your kids away from you for that. And then I've talked to several different people around. I don't do videos on everything. Some of the homeless people, most of the homeless people I talk to don't want to be videotaped, but I do talk to them anyways. And I know they've lost their children to the foster care system, to Child Protective Services, CPS, or whatever you want to call it, taking their kids away from them because they were homeless, and they never saw their kids again. And I have the video right on my channel here of the man saying that himself on my video in Pismo Beach. They took his daughters away, or the daughters of somebody he knew there, and they never saw him again, and they never got him back. So, when the government gets involved in the school, they don't want you to know all that. They want to make it look like, oh, we're trying to help the needy, we're trying to help the poor people with their kids and that can't afford to take their kids to a preschool. Okay, so if that's really what you're trying to do, then why do you have to take over the industry that's been run by mothers and women for decades, for hundreds of years, because women are the mothers and they know how to do those things? Why would you take the task, the job away from these women that have private preschools and close their preschools down, like Small Wonders, Dawn's preschool in Santa Maria, a 4-generation family? These other preschools that are state-run, I've investigated them. You can go onto the license agency and find out how many violations they've had against them. A lot more than she did, and a lot more serious. And their preschools are still open, and that's not fair to Dawn, because she was doing it out of the kindness and love in her heart. She loves children so much. And that's what the children need. Somebody like that family. Her mom, her son, her family. They all love kids. They live their whole lives around making little baskets for them and painting with them. And they're not abusing children. When they closed the preschool down, all the kids were crying their eyes out, and the parents. Because they want to keep taking their kids there. And some of these reports were fabricated. I went all the way to Goleta and went to the licensing agency. They don't want to provide me with any records or tell me what the truth of the matter is. That these preschools that are state-run actually have Planned Parenthood planted right inside of them. And they're there ready, willing, and able to take your child away from you if you can't handle it. So they should be giving the money that they use to open all these Head Start programs that are failing, because I've gone over to these places and there's either no kids in there, and the people that own those places or that are running those places, they live in there with their families, and they're not providing any of the services that they promised, like help with the electricity, help with the utilities, repairing things for weatherization and all that stuff. The food they were giving to the lunch program and all that, they don't do any of that anymore. They said they ran out of money. They don't have money for it. And then another program just ran out of grant money that was helping the people on my channel in the video, the homeless couple that I interviewed yesterday in Lompoc. That closed down, so they can't get their birth certificates, and they don't have any transportation. They got robbed by another couple that were riding with them on the road from Arizona to Santa Maria. They left them in Santa Maria at the Walmart parking lot, took off in their vehicle. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that happens. That's why you don't leave these people out here for more stuff to happen to them, because it will. The stuff's not going to stop happening. You're out in the elements with the bugs and the things stinging me on the leg right now. Ouch. I mean, I get stung by bees and spiders, and you know, I'm out here every day, as you can see on my videos. But I'm not just sitting around hiding somewhere, afraid that life is too hard for the living. Here's the pipes down here. Way down there. God, they got to dig way down in there. That's what those guys were doing out there. Afraid that life is too hazardous for me. If you want to know about my life, you know, I don't really have time to talk about it. You can go ahead and look it up. Go to the library. Look up my past history. Go ahead and spend as much time as you want. I mean, you haven't seen any of my dirt yet. I mean, stuff you're mentioning is not even about me. You should look up the real true stuff. I mean, you haven't even skimmed the surface. But I'm not interested. I'm busy living life, getting onward and upward. You know, I don't feel sorry for myself. I don't have time for people with self-pity. Sit around and feel sorry for themselves all day, trying to figure out what to do with this or what to do with that. Just get up and get on with it. Stop thinking. Action is the enemy of thought. The minute you turn on your brain and you let the little minions in there to start controlling your thoughts and whatnot, because that's what's doing it, they're going to stay in there. You got to tell them to shut up. You got to be willing to fight the fight, be willing to give anything and everything in this life to free your soul. To free your soul to the good side. To be an ambassador to the Lord. God bless you all every day. Betty Buttcrack loves you. Shandula. Ta-ta.